Hey, hope you're having a great day. This is the next in our series on all of the ways to cut the time it takes to ship your show. The goal being to make your podcast in the minimum time possible. And this time around, we're going to cover interview booking tools. Now, don't turn off. I know you're probably already using an interview booking tool, but this is all about how to use them in the best possible way, because I think a lot of people are missing some tricks around how to use these interview booking tools. So let me go into a few of those. All right, but again, this is how to cut the time it takes to ship your show. Hope you've been enjoying this series. I'm Colin Gray from thepodcasthost.com. So let's look at it. Very quick summary then. Interview booking tools are more calendar booking tools, I suppose. You've got things like Calendly, Book Like a Boss, probably the two that I've used most. Essentially, you send a link to somebody and they can choose a time from your calendar. You can set times that are open for booking interviews. When those things first came along, they just saved us hours as podcasters in booking interviews. No more of this email ping pong back and forth. So that in itself is a huge time saver, but I'm sure you're already doing that. Most people use them if they're booking interviews these days. The thing that I find a lot of podcasters not doing is using the automation tools inside these interview booking tools. So we use Book Like a Boss the most. That's the one I like. Look at the link in the description to go and check that out if you want to. I love it. So the automation stuff in there is really good. But Calendly and a bunch of other ones do all of the same kind of stuff. So you should be able to implement this in whatever booking tool that you use. So the key here is automation, okay? The things that cost us time in creating our podcast, specifically interview ones, are often confusions around, where they have to turn up to record that show, what gear they should use to make sure it's decent quality, no shows, all that kind of stuff. So here's a few things we can do. First of all, when somebody books in with me, I always add 3, 4, 5 extra questions to the booking process. There's things I always ask for, things like social media profile, a headshot, what else? A biography, all right? A question around what is it you're promoting just now so that I can make sure I help them promote it, get the most from the show. And then maybe a question about what is the topic? Give me a quick, 2-sentence summary. And then give me 2 or 3 questions that I can ask you to prompt the stories that you want me to prompt. All right? So you'll know how you create your show. You'll know how you create a great interview. Try and get all of that up front. When you send them the booking tool, make sure that the form they fill in actually gets as much information as possible so that you save so much time going back and forth, organizing it with the interviewee. Okay, so that's the first thing. Ask those questions up front. Get that information in there, in the bag, right at the start. Next, follow-up emails. Set up a bunch of these, okay? First of which would be quality. One of the biggest time wasters is when somebody jumps on a call, they're using their laptop mic, using their laptop speakers, they're in a noisy room, you have to spend 15 minutes talking them through how to change over to a headset they've got in the drawer or go to a quiet room. Send them at least 1, maybe even 2 reminders about what you expect from an interview. And I would be quite strict about this. I often am. I say, if we turn up and you're just on your laptop mic and laptop speakers, I'm afraid we can't go ahead. It just doesn't represent you as a speaker or us as a show very well, so I'm afraid we can't go ahead. So make sure you have this checklist ticked off. That's it, it's a checklist. Send them that checklist to say, do this, do this, do this, and then we'll have a great interview. And it saves so much time in people turning up without the good quality. So that's another thing. Reminders ahead of it. Send 1 or 2 reminders at least ahead of the call to remind them. Sometimes people don't show because they forget. And even if they decide not to, you can put in, again, I'm kind of strict about this. I write and say, please let me know. If you're not going to show up, it's totally fine. Just let me know in advance. The worst thing is if you just don't show up at the time and it wastes all of our time. So be strict about that. Send those, and that saves a lot of time in no-shows as well. Okay? Then you can set up reminders afterwards. You can set up automated emails that go afterwards and send out 2 days after, a week after, send a thank you one, which is nice to build that network. Maybe a week after, which is something around, how we tend to promote the show, what would be the next steps, all that kind of stuff. What I'm getting at is there's a lot of tools in these booking tools which help you automate and save time. So think about, what do you do every time you run an interview? What do you ask your interviewees? What do you tend to tell them? What problems occur during those interviews that wastes you time? And think about how you can build them into automated emails, automated questions when they're booking to save you as much time as possible. Hope that helps. Another way to save time, of course, is our tool Alitu. So just to tell you quickly, Alitu is our podcast maker tool designed just for podcasters to make it as quick and easy. Automates a whole bunch of the podcasting process, from adding your music, adding your transitions, does all the audio cleanup for you. Call recorders built right in there, so you can record your call and it ends up in our audio cleanup in our editing platform. The podcast specific editing tool in there saves so much time and so much easier than things like Audacity, Audition, that kind of stuff. And then you can post straight to the hosting in there too. It's all in one, so it saves you all this kind of integration and all this messing around between different platforms. So please do check that out over at alitu.com, alitu.com. And please do, too many calls to action, subscribe, alerts, so that you get more of these videos. But I do want you to get them. I'm going to put out a bunch of these how to save time creating your show videos. So hit that subscribe button, that alert button, so that YouTube tells you when the new one is out. That is interview logistics, booking tools, how to save time in planning and executing your interviews. I hope that was useful to you, and I'll see you on the next one.